as we've welcomed guests during spring break this week and excited for the weeks to come. Father, we invite you in these chambers tonight as we do business of the city, but pray that that business be honoring and glorifying to you as well. Father, thanks for each board member here, for our community, for those that are represented tonight. And again, we invite you to be present with the agenda this evening as we do business. Father, we love you. Praise you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Fenton.
Here.
Denham. Here. Cooper.
Here.
Milton.
Here.
Rodriguez.
Here.
Howden.
Here.
LeBlanc.
Here.
Your Honor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. I would like to have a moment of silence for the 3 officers shot in the line of duty in Herman, Missouri. Detective Sergeant Mason Griffith, who was killed, and Officer Adam Solentrup, who survived. Please join me in this moment of silence for these 2 officers. Thank you. Alderman Rodriguez, will you please present Julie Anderson of the Finance Department with the Employee of the Month Award, please? Come on down.
On behalf of the Mayor, Board of Aldermen, City Administrator, and City staff, it is my honor to announce Finance Office Assistant Julie Anderson as the City of Branson's March 2023 Service of Excellence Employee of the Month. This award recognizes employees who have gone above and beyond and whose performances exemplified the City of Branson's values. Julie was nominated for pulling double duty and taking on extra work when filing a temporary vacant position. She is the definition of the city's values of teamwork and cooperation and didn't think twice when asked to help. Not only did she take on extra responsibilities, but she also helped to train the new employees and does so with a great attitude. Congratulations and keep up the good work.
Any words of wisdom, Julie?
Very wise.
Thank you. This is the public comment section of the Board of Aldermen meeting. At this time, the board will hear citizens who have signed up in the order they are listed. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers this evening?
Yes, Your Honor. The first speaker is Bud and Linda Lynn, 50 Linwood Drive, speaking on Cox Hospital vax deaths.
Hello, and thank you, Honorable Mayor and the City Council. I know many of you, and if I was here to talk about Shepherd of the Hills, I could tell you all about that because I was in the Shepherd of the Hills play for 34 years, and I really enjoyed that. It's a big part of my life, and many of you are, you love Branson for all of that. But I'm here actually to talk about my son, Rory. Sorry. My son, Rory, and there's some pictures of him, and I never thought that I would be here to talk about something like this, but he passed away here in April of this year, and he was a vibrant young man. He was a Marine Corps veteran and full of life. He was 6'5", weighed about 230 pounds, and he worked out all the time, and he was very healthy, and he also had 2 degrees. He had an engineering degree. He also worked at the hospital over here at Skaggs because he had a biology degree, so he worked as a lab tech over at Cox Health over here at Branson. And we were very proud of that. But more than that, he was on top of the world. He felt really good about what he was doing, really good. And he was asked to take all of the vaccinations, first, second, and third vaccines, and so he did. And he had a blood disorder, but they also didn't say anything about that. He had a factor II blood disorder, but there's a lot of things that's not told to people like Rory. But it was unusual for him to pass away at such a young age. He was 41 years old. And so we're very, very concerned about that, and we're very concerned about people taking the vaccination because we feel like that it can be hazardous. So, and we're concerned about it, and that's why we're here. And this is our son, and
Show
that's
the audience as well.
yeah.
Rory was an exemplary young man, and he loved the Lord, right?
Oh yes.
Ordained, died suddenly. He died 2 months after the booster. He shouldn't have gotten any of the vaccines, but our point is there's doctors and heart doctors, there's Dr. Olson, radiologists, there's doctors all over the United States on the Christian television that are speaking out, not on the main media, and they're talking about the dangers of the vaccine. Our doctors locally, I won't mention names, have said, do not get the vaccine, you two, or you won't be alive within 3 years. A lot of people that are not mainstream media are understanding that we are here to save lives. Rory'd be alive today if he hadn't got the booster. But I did find out, and I've done some research over there at the hospital at Cox, they do push the vaccine on you. And Rory was one big, beautiful people pleaser. They called him the gentle giant, and he was a gentle giant. And I know when the the notes come through at the hospital and they say, did you get your booster today, or whatever, he wanted to please them. And so 2 months later, he was on the floor, completely gone. They couldn't revive him, and there was nothing we could do. So if you've not gotten the booster, don't get it. Don't get the vaccine. Right? Right. We have to stand up for each other. We have to protect each other. We have to protect our children and our babies and our pregnant
30 seconds.
mothers. That's our message, because we care about everyone, and you all care about all of us here in Branson. We've got to stop it, and it starts here in our own hometown. Corrie ten Boom said there's a blessing on this area, and there is. Let it come down on us now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We really appreciate you and appreciate the work you do. Thank you so much.
Thank
God
you very
bless.
much.
Okay.
And I'm very proud of Roy for serving in the Marine Corps. Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Your Honor, the next speaker is Dr. Robert Olson, MD, Barrington Hotel, speaking on killing and disabling Branson and Missouri citizens by Cox, Fauci, remdesivir, and deadly COVID vax shots.
Hello, everyone. Good to see you again. And we hope that you all get reelected. I'm very impressed with this board, and I wouldn't replace any of you. That's my feeling. I've seen you guys a lot, and I feel like I know several of you pretty well. And I wish you well in the election. And I hopefully you'll all win. I did send a couple emails to you. The one email I want to bring to your attention is Ed Dowd, E-D-E-W-O-D. Did I spell it right? D-O-W-D, Ed Dowd. And there's going to be 5 or 6 emails that you can plug in. One has a conversation between Tucker Carlson and Ed Dowd. Ed Dowd is the smartest guy having to do with the killing of the innocents with the vax. I think he's #1 guy. I want you to know that that's my feeling. And I hope you take time to look at that. Of course, we're dealing with the remdesivir killing in the hospitals. That's the Fauci protocol. Hospitals get paid if they're given the remdesivir, which is a killer. Everyone knows that. We've known that since the 1980s. #1 thing, though, is we need to stop the vax. We really need to stop it. And we really feel that you are our representatives here. The Branson community, you have the authority to stop or put conditions on any business license. If there is a danger that a business is causing, for example, remdesivir, dangerous, or vaccine, very dangerous. You realize that there's a study in the UK of 11 million healthy children from 0 to 20. You know how many died from the virus? Take a guess. 0. There's no risk of a healthy adult or a healthy child. There's no reason why Rory got any vax whatsoever. You saw him. He's healthy, young, vigorous. I did want to mention that Rory Lynn's, I put a USB in here. I tried to get it to you. I'll try to get it to you somehow so you can see it, the testimony. There's a song, original song by Z. You know Z. Mm-hmm. Tremendous song. And I hope he gets it to you, because it is Leave Our Babies Alone. And I am in support of Robert Brim's letter that's going to be presented later. And thank you very much. I appreciate all of you.
Thank you,
Dr.
Dr.
And I really do appreciate you.
Thank you.
Because we feel like we got the right team in place to do something. Clay, Larry, all of you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your Honor, the next speaker is Ricky Zaitz, 3000 Green Mountain, Branson, speaking on health.
We're going to talk about a new ordinance for the dress code for the Board of Aldermen.
Dress code is very important. You got to be cool. I overdo it. I really do. I'm an exaggerated person. You know that. I'm only hypothetical, though. First of all, I love all of you. And I agree with the doc. We all came out of the trenches together. We were all protesters. We were all, and I apologize to you, Ruth, for assuming something that was told to me about you. It wasn't accurate. So I want to keep the peace here, but we have to insist that no business will authorize a lethal injection being delivered to the citizens of this city. That has to stop. If they're going to get a permit, or if they're going to get a license, they should not be allowed to kill. This is an experimental vaccine. Remember that. Experimental. And the insurance companies don't cover it. So if an insurance company doesn't cover it, then why in the world are we letting it being deployed upon our population? This is unacceptable. I just came back from Washington, D.C., and I met with a lot of conservatives there, and we're all passionate. We're all on the same page. We do not want this to continue. It is not something casual. I have lost 3 of my friends. I have family members all of a sudden getting no trace of cancer in our family at all of a sudden getting cancer in the body. Okay, we're a very healthy family. And to see this stuff happening and seeing people getting 3 on remdesivir, telling me, oh, I'm doing great. Everything's perfect. Gonna get out of the hospital. They're putting me on the breathalyzer. Nitrogen. What do you want to take your the lawn mowing material, nitrogen, and stick it in your lungs. Come on, you're not going to survive. You're basically going to suffocate. I remember when every one of us was standing up here, and I got thrown out of court twice, okay? You never got a chance to speak. I told you, you need to run. We need somebody here that's going to speak. And you know what? I appreciate that you give us the liberality that we have to express ourselves. Thank you so much for that. And I hope it continues into the future. But we must cease and desist. Right now, we need to stop allowing this injection to be given to the population. And you control the permitting. You control the licensing. You can say, look, until we get more data on it, we want you to stop doing this in our community. You can do that. You do have that power. It is not something that you don't have the authority to do. That's all we're asking you to do, is use the authority that you do have on the behalf of the population that is here, that is dying. And I don't believe there's a single person in this room that doesn't know somebody that died strangely after getting the vaccination. I bet you there's not one. I got 3 friends. 3 very close friends. And when they went in the hospital, which is a very dangerous place to go, they're no longer here. Are you listening to us?
Richie, may I ask a question, please? I hear what you're saying. I hear what some of our community members are saying. I do not believe this Board of Aldermen has the authority that you're saying that you think we do. I don't believe this board can go to Cox Hospital and say, you will no longer give these shots.
You have every right. You have every right to do that. You can stop giving licenses to experimental drugs, which are being perpetrated upon our community.
Okay, but we don't give licenses.
But you have authority
to
here.
experimental drugs.
You have authority here. You can say, we need to stop this until we do an evaluation, because we've got 55,000 pages of documentation. I mean, we've got so much data on this. This isn't like some kind of thing that's hypothetical, not possible. It's real. And I know it's real.
Okay.
And you know it's real.
That, beside the point, I'm hearing you ask this board to take action.
Uh-huh.
And in my opinion, between the FDA, between the federal government, state government, they're the ones that are saying these vaccines are legitimate. I don't think it's in our power to say to the federal government, we disagree and we're no longer going to allow those
There's a $1 trillion lawsuit going against Pfizer right now. There are other lawsuits going on, and there will be legal action that will have to be taken place, because we cannot let the citizens die. We cannot let people die or be injured or have side effects, which are many, many, many side effects that we know are existing from this.
I just don't want you to think that we're not taking action on
We'll
something,
find a way to do it.
okay?
We'll work with you, in conjunction with you. We're on the same team here, okay? You got here because of rebellion, because you stood up against a shutdown. You stood up against a mandated vaccine. Yeah, you did something, and I appreciate that. I think you're all heroes, in my opinion. All right? That's where I stop. Yeah.
And again, I'm not trying to pick an argument, but you just mentioned that you supported us because you wanted us to remove a mandate, but in a way, aren't you asking us to mandate something?
No. We're asking you to do what is acceptable. In other words, you need to review what we see as far as evidence of destruction to citizens, and upon that review, and stop giving out these licenses or renewing them until that has been accomplished. And we have the data. We have the data that we'll share that data. If you had a leak in the plumbing of the city, and everybody was getting contaminated, like Flint, Michigan, or somewhere like that, and you would stop it. You would stop it. You would put an end to it. All we're asking you to do is stop the Holocaust. Stop the Holocaust. We'll help you. We'll work with you. We're asking your help. We know you can do it. I believe in you. I wouldn't have told you in the first place to run, right? I'm glad I did.
Thank you very much.
I love you, okay?
Thank you, Richie.
Love all of you.
Your Your Honor, the next speaker is Deanna Slatton, 187 Lone Pine, Branson, speaking on public health safety.
How are y'all today?
Excuse me a second, Deanna.
Okay.
Richie and Dr. Olson? Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Deanna.
Okay. I come here tonight to educate you and to say thank you to Mayor Milton for allowing the people to have a voice. I appreciate that about you. I really do. It's important. It's obvious if Karen Best were here, the situation would be a whole lot different. As she said in Branson Tri-Lakes News, that she didn't think this was a place to make noise about 5G, bioweapons, shots, and that kind of thing. She thinks it needs to be on a federal level. Well, maybe, maybe it not. I'm going to give you a little taste of what we call misprision of treason. Misprision of treason is knowing of a threat to the American people. And knowing this threat, you do not take action on it, then you can be charged with misprision of treason. That's anybody, doctors, nurses, just a regular old Tom on the road. Anyway, I'm coming here to ask you again to remove the 5G weapons of mass destruction from the city and the county. We would like to see all the COVID, bioweapons, DNA-altering shots, mask, and PCR tests removed. We want the Fauci protocols stopped in the hospitals and removed. We want doctors to do their jobs, not someone in an office that's telling them what to do because they're collecting money probably for that. We don't need board members of the hospital doing these kinds of things for our doctors, because our doctors, they have an important job. And most of the time, they know a lot more than a board member. We are also asking that town and county sheriff, the Branson police chief, along with the prosecuting attorney, to support investigations we laid out in the intent letters on the health department and other investigations, as it seems we are lacking some support here. We want all the COVID and COVID-related removed from and including all 5G towers, 5G streetlights, 5G water towers, 5G that are on the schools, if any of which would potentially be bringing income to the city also, because we realize that sometimes the city gets income for these kinds of things. There's nothing more, these things are nothing more than weapons of mass destruction to be used on the people. These weapons can be hacked and can be used to target people as well. You say when I come here that y'all want better speakers. Was Paul Revere a better speaker? I don't think so. He screamed, "The British are coming, the British are coming." This is your British are coming moment. And it's a matter of what you decide to do with this. You can do for good, God and Jesus Christ, or you can do for the devil and do evil and bad things. All I'm asking is that we come together, we sit down, and we have a meeting, and we discuss this. Because if we can't get something done here, I have my duty as a citizen to press charges of misprision of treason. And I don't want to have to do that. I want us to sit down, have that meeting that I've asked for months and months. And we'll sit down, we'll talk about this, and see what we can come to. Because I want to tell you right now, the federal government's got another thing coming to them as well. It's not just locals. There are trials taking place right now for misprision of treason. Look it up, you'll see it is coming. So that's all I have to say to you guys. I appreciate you, Mayor. Just like I said, I do appreciate every one of you, but we've got to do something. The line's drawn right here, right now. Right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Deanna.
Deanna,
Yes.
when you came 2 weeks ago, you kind of came in towards the end of our study session, but did you happen to hear what we were talking about with the fluoride discussion?
Just a little bit, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
She and I's talked about that kind of stuff. I really do.
Yeah.
I really do appreciate it. But here's the thing. The 5G works with the injections.
I understand
It
what
tracks
you're saying.
people.
I
And
understand what you're
it can
saying.
pick you up anywhere in the world.
Right.
They want to look for you.
Another topic I would bring up is, it's brought up a lot, the 2030 plan, which a lot of people have different opinions about where it comes from, whether it's from the UN or China, or, but when I read it, and when I sat on the Planning and Zoning Commission, I read it as not Branson focused, right? Not pro-business. And there's a lot of, so all I'm trying to convey to you is that this board is not your average board, right? We are open to things that go against sort of the national establishment,
We are open to things that go against our Constitution. That's where I'm standing from this point, okay?
I appreciate
So
that.
anything that goes against our Constitution, that's what I'm against.
I appreciate
And
that.
anybody else out there better be right with me, all I got to say.
So when it comes up in every individual issue, it is hard for a person. I'm not a doctor.
No.
I stood up here and I said, when somebody said about bringing up these issues, I said, you want the government to tell you when they won't even tell us that it was made in a lab in Wuhan, and now they're telling us that, right?
Right.
So it takes a long time and a lot of time for us to sit up here, and I don't know that I'm qualified to make that judgment as an alderman on some of these issues. I can ask
You
questions.
absolutely are qualified. Any citizen of the United States, we are actually your boss, if
I
you
appreciate
understand that.
I appreciate
We are
that.
your boss. So the 2030 thing is happening right now. It's not something that's going to happen in 2030. These are things that are taking place right now to get to their 2030 that they want.
Yeah, and I don't want to
So-
extend it too much. I just wanted to say that to you. We've got an eye for issues like the kinds of issues that you guys are concerned about. It is every single item, are we going to be able to fight the federal government or whatever it takes? I don't know, but I just want to say this. Sometimes some of the comments that you make they're rather threatening, when we
Well,
feel
I
that
mean,
we're on your side,
I
To say we're committing
agree with you.
treason or
They
something
might be
like that.
threatening because, I'm standing from my point of view, and when I'm reading misprision of treason, this is what it sounds like. So I'm standing from my point of view. When I said the line has been drawn, I absolutely mean that. I mean that. If we can't come to some kind of agreement and sit down and have a discussion on this as to what we're going to do in this town, I have to do what I have to do. And I don't want to have to do that, but I have to.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
Your Honor, the next speaker is Gary Groman, 350 Wildwood Drive, Branson, speaking on Give Her a Break. She's doing a fabulous job.
Guys, you do whatever you want to do with that misprision of treason stuff, but you leave Viagra alone, do you understand? During the public comment portion of the February 14th, 2023 Board of Aldermen meeting, I, with the permission of the presiding officer, address this question to Alderman Rodriguez. Quote, given the comments of Mr. Francis, what specific facts can you share with us supporting your statement that there is, quote, a complete erosion of trust under the current city administrator, end quote. Alderman Rodriguez remained mute and did not answer the question while I was standing up here. Even after Alderman Fenton was kind enough to call me back up, he remained mute. But after I left during the Alderman's reports, he said that although he's a politician, when he's sitting up in the dais, he's an Alderman, and did not answer my question because, quote, Gary Groman was here for political reasons. Really, Alderman Rodriguez? Do you think I would leave my loving wife and a great Hallmark movie to come down here for political reasons? And yes, sir, you are an alderman when sitting up there in the dais. But when you are not sitting up there, what you speak, what you are speaks for itself, and you don't have to say a thing. I preface my questions to him quoting from the statement. He said, the statement of retiring Public Works Director Keith Francis, where he said, quote, the city of Branson is going in a positive direction. Kathy has been wonderful, absolutely great. I have no qualms about Kathy in any way, shape, form, or fashion. She's been very supportive of all the staff here, not only the directors, but the other staff as well. Now, he could afford to say that because he's got his boat and he's retiring. I have personally talked to directors and senior staff that swear by that lady. I had one this week ask me to write an article about the way you guys are treating her, but I can't because they're afraid to say something because they get a target on their back. Now, I can write a column because that's my opinion and everybody does what they want with that. But you guys ought to be The question I asked him related to the basis for his published public comment. There's a complete erosion of trust under the current city administrator. It's a statement directly related to city business, processes, and reputation, at least as much as misprision or whatever treason is. The directors that I have personally talked with, some of them sitting in this room tonight, indicate that statement is a lie. I believe you Mr. Rodriguez, I believe you created it to try to give the public the opinion that the city hall is divided and in turmoil when the reality of the situation is quite different. I know some of you had problems with the process that led to her hiring, but she had nothing to do with that, and she's been here for 4 months. You've had 4 months to evaluate her, and if what I'm seeing with the staff is any indication, what Mr. Rodriguez is saying is quite different from the reality of the situation. Doesn't she and your staff deserve your vote of confidence in her and her leadership, and that independent of the election results, she has your support and will only be terminated if she does or fails to do something worthy of termination? I believe that by any standard of measure you want to use, she deserves a lot better than she's been getting. Any questions?
Gary, why do you feel that way?
I went to a debate with the 3 candidates, and they were asked what would happen with the city administrator if they were elected. And they treated her like a piece of meat. Well, we'll evaluate it. We'll make that decision. And where did they get that from? Unfortunately, they get it from you. You guys are the leaders. And I know, I don't know you real well, Mr. Rodriguez, but I feel like you and I will probably never send each other Valentines, but I respect you. I respect your judgment. Clay, from an agape point of view, I love you. I know you guys, you wouldn't want your wives or anybody treated like this. And here all she did was apply for a job and get it. Why can't we give her support and say, hey, regardless of the election, the only way you'll go is for cause. Either you did something that you should be fired for, or you're going to be terminated. And it's BS. I'm sorry. That's why I ought to speak from written stuff.
Thank you, Gary.
Your Honor, our final speaker is Cherry Webster, 118 Country Bluff Drive, speaking on alderman representation.
Good evening. I would prefer to address this issue one-on-one or even one-on-3. Instead, I'm going to do this publicly because the issue has been presented publicly. In the last 10 days at 2 separate public forums, Alderman Rodriguez has made some disturbing statements regarding the city administrator and how the city is run. Regarding the administrator, he stated, quote, right now, she has standing meetings with 3 aldermen. That's it. There's 3 aldermen that don't have any with her, end quote. Although he chose not to identify the aldermen, I will. Those with standing appointments would be Denham, Howden, and LeBlanc. Those without standing appointments would be Rodriguez, Fenton, and Cooper. Additionally, Rodriguez stated, quote, one alderman said she doesn't have to meet with all 6 of us. She hears from the majority of the board, which is 3 aldermen and the mayor. You can't run a city like that, end quote. Well, I would agree. You can't run a city like that. But to insinuate that it is the city administrator who is refusing to meet with them, I don't buy that for a minute. That would be totally out of character for Kathy Stepp to behave in such a manner. And being fully aware of the controversy surrounding her hiring, it would also be pretty stupid of her to do so. She'd be shooting herself in the foot. You 3 can't get appointments with her? Really? No. No, you 3 voted not to hire her in October. You three voted again in January to fire her. It's been 5 months now. She's here. She's doing a good job. And instead of being professional and working with her, you three are holding grudges and boycotting her. That is disturbing. You're right. You can't run a city like that. How did the constituents of your wards get their issues represented before the city? Alderman Howden, you must be doing double duty in Ward 1. And the Ward 2 residents, well, they have both aldermen boycotting the administrator. Who represents them? And it's not just the residents of your ward. The Country Bluff subdivision, where I live in Ward 3, learned the hard way that it takes at least 4 aldermen to protect one neighborhood. 3 years after the Garudas and the Combs on Fall Creek Road filled a 40-acre forest with a 10-acre permit, the 4,000 cubic yard detention pond their engineer designed is still absent. Our 2 aldermen at the time refused to help us. Neither would 3 other former aldermen. It was only Alderman Larry Milton from Ward 2 that was adamant about following the legal process to rezone that property. And it was Mayor Larry Milton who spent over a year trying to negotiate an adequate stormwater detention pond with those developers. That situation spurred many of us to replace elected officials that chose to represent developers and not residents, and not a 25-year-old subdivision. Alderman Rodriguez, I spent an entire afternoon with 2 other people, none of whom are in your ward, going door to door in 2 neighborhoods campaigning for you. We needed your help in Ward 3, so we were willing to help you in Ward 2. And you have helped us with several of your votes, for which we are truly appreciative. But we still need your help. Alderman Cooper, when you were first elected, your votes help our neighborhood. Then you flip-flopped, supported the developer. All the city's 12,000 plus residents need the 3 of you to work together with the city leadership, not just to bring forward your ward's issues, but to add your ideas and insights and initiatives for the city as a whole. When I was in my mid-30s and 40s, I played in an adult soccer league for 10 years. I especially remember one game. It was on the team that had 2 really skillful forwards who were also divas. Our team was ahead by about 10-1. In the 4th quarter, the coach took the 2 divas out, moved the fullbacks to forward, and moved the forwards to fullback. You know what those 2 divas did? They picked up their duffel bags and left. How's that for being a team player? Branson has weathered the COVID economy. It has a good income stream, and there are many
30 seconds.
opportunities out there for this city to pursue. There's a business to be run here. Branson needs its full team of players on board, providing their input, not excuses, working together. So, seeing as I am surely old enough to be the mother of the 3 of you, I have a motherly piece of advice. And as a Branson resident, I also have a request. Knock it off. Pick up the phone, make an appointment, a standing monthly appointment.
Mayor, may I? May I?
Sure.
Thank you, Cherry. As usual, facts are missing from your presentation. I have my meeting scheduled with Kathy. I think she'll confirm this Monday. So I'm not boycotting anybody. So before you come up and speak about what I'm doing, why don't you ask me what I'm doing before you generalize that? So thank you.
Yeah, ditto.
You might want to tell your colleague, Alderman Rodriguez. He's the one that's saying that the 3 of you don't have standing appointments
Okay,
with her.
then don't say, if he's saying stuff, you haven't heard me say that.
I'm just quoting him.
Well,
And I appreciate
I don't
you-
appreciate your attack
I
because I
appreciate
did not
you rebutting
say I
it.
boycotted her. I've not said anything about that.
Well, you're Mr. Amiable, so I can't imagine why you would boycott her. But when your colleague states in a public forum that there are 3 of you who have standing appointments and 3 of them don't, you need to set him straight.
Well, he's a big boy and he can talk for himself and I'll talk for myself. So.
And I appreciate your stating that, and I appreciate you stating that, Alderman Fenton, even though I wouldn't be sending you any Valentines either.
Wow, Cody, Cody, I'll send you Valentine. Madam Clerk?
There are no more speakers signed up this evening.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. That's rough.
Not only a musician, a performer, a comedian. Next is the consent agenda. Are there any items that any member of the audience would like to have moved down from the consent agenda to ask any additional questions or comments?
Mr. Mayor, I would like number 4 to be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the first item of the regular agenda.
That's a motion?
No motion, that's
Oh, just pull it down. Okay. Madam Clerk, would you please read the items on the consent agenda as amended?
Your Honor, the items on the consent agenda are as follows. Approval of the Board of Aldermen minutes for the February 28th, 2023 study session and February 28th, 2023 regular meeting. Acknowledge receipt of Planning Commission minutes for the November 1st, 2022 regular meeting. Acknowledge receipt of Human Resources Committee minutes for the November 16th, 2022 meeting. Final reading of Bill Number 6272, an ordinance approving the mutual cooperation agreement with Taney County for a 911 emergency telephone system and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. Final reading of Bill Number 6273, an ordinance amending the adopted 2023 budget for the city of Branson, Missouri to adjust monies in the Police Public Safety Fund for an increase in office equipment. Final reading of Bill Number 6274, an ordinance amending Section 2-356 of the Branson Municipal Code pertaining to the determination of lowest and best responsible bidder. Final reading of Bill Number 6275, an ordinance amending the adopted 2023 budget for the city of Branson, Missouri to adjust monies in the general fund for an increase in the geographical information system. Final reading of Bill Number 6276, an ordinance approving the interfund loan between the Tourism Fund and the Public Safety Fire Fund for the purchase of a fire engine. Final reading of Bill Number 6277, an ordinance amending the adopted 2022 budget for the city of Branson, Missouri to adjust monies in the Parks Internal Services Fund for the purchase of land related to an expansion of the Branson Lakeside RV Park. Final reading of Bill Number 6278, an ordinance accepting a proposal from the Mitcham Tire Company for tires and tubes and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. Your Honor, that concludes the reading of the consent agenda. The floor is open for a motion approving all items on the consent agenda.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote on the consent agenda.
Are you a yes? Okay. Okay, motion carries 6-0. Okay, Your Honor, the next item is the final reading of Bill Number 6271, an ordinance approving the contract with Hafer Welker LLC for design-build services related to a new police building and authorizing the mayor to execute the contract. The floor, sorry, hang on just a second. The floor is open for a motion to approve the final reading of Bill Number 6271.
Keith, are you just up here because this is your last meeting?
That's it. No.
So we will, we have a motion and a second. We'll get a staff report from Keith.
What I'm going to do this afternoon when we was going through our menu for the night here, our agenda, Cheryl was sitting in there and looking at something. She says, "Oh my gosh." I said, "Oh Lord, Cheryl, what now?" And she said, "We've got some words that need to be changed in the ordinance for the police station." And it's in the first paragraph there, or the heading up there, then the first paragraph, and then under section 1, everything refers to design build. This is not a design build project or contract with Hafer Welker. This is a design contract. So the word build needs to be removed from this ordinance. So it's not construed differently down the road by whoever, you know, comes in behind me or us or what, but that word build needs to be removed. And so Hillary will tell you how all this stuff needs to take place to change that wording there. and then it's good then.
So Hillary, you'll guide us through, this has been read the first time,
Correct.
so we're going to remove the word build,
Yes.
and then we'll be allowed to vote on the second read?
Correct, yeah, on the bill as amended. You got it. You don't
Bill
need
as
me.
amended.
You got this. Yes, that's perfect. And the motion's been scripted there too, so.
All good.
Is that where we are?
Yep.
Your Honor, I move to amend Bill number 6271 by removing the word build from the title, the first whereas, and section 1 of the ordinance.
Second.
So we have a motion, a second. Anybody in the audience wishing to comment or have questions on this? Are there any members of the board? Hearing none, let's vote on the amendment.
The motion carries 6-0. So now you will want to vote on the bill as amended.
So
you already have a motion and second on the floor for the final reading. You just now closed your amendment, and now you need to come back and close your vote on the final reading. So we just need to call for a vote. You might want to ask if anybody has discussion on the amendment first.
does anybody in the audience have any questions? Any board members have any questions? Hearing none, let's vote on the bill as amended.
The motion carries 6-0. Let the record show the contract with Hafer Welker LLC is for design services related to a new police building.
Thank you.
Your Honor, the next item is a resolution approving a special event permit application for the 56th Plum Nelly Days Arts, Crafts, and Music Festival. The floor is open for a motion adopting this resolution.
Hillary, do we have the motion second posted?
Yes, you do.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, and we'll get a staff report from Jennifer Luna Thompson.
Thank you. Good evening to the mayor, the board, and the city administrator. Tonight we have a request for approval for the 56th Annual Plum Nelly Days Festival. The applicant is Jessica Luthart on behalf of the Downtown Betterment Branson Association, and she's in attendance this evening tonight. The event dates are April 19th through the 23rd, with setup beginning on April 18th, and the breakdown of the event beginning on April 24th. There are approximately 5,000 people anticipated to attend. This shows a site map aerial of the general area of the event. It includes the parking lot, a portion of Commercial Street, south and north of Atlantic, not to interfere with Main Street or Atlantic. These are the site plans provided by the applicant. So the top one just shows the areas to be barricaded. Atlantic Street will stay open, so will Main Street. There will be a portion of commercial north of the West Main Street and then north of Atlantic Street that will be barricaded. So this is a level 3 event, which does require Board of Aldermen approval. And that's just due to the impacts of the event in terms of the closure of the streets, the number of folks planning to attend, and other things with parking and things like that. So staff is recommending approval, and we're happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Jennifer, have all the businesses been notified about this?
You know, I talked to Jessica today actually about that, and she waits a little bit closer to the date event. I believe about a couple weeks out is what she said. She does an email to the folks, the business owners.
Are there any questions or comments from anybody in the audience? Questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, let's vote. Good job, Jennifer.
Thank you.
The motion carries 6-0.
You know, this is the show me state.
That's him.
Thank you.
Your Honor, the next item is the first reading of Bill Number 6279, an ordinance approving participation by the City of Branson, Missouri in the new national opioid settlements and authorizing the mayor to execute the documents related thereto. The floor is open for a motion to approve the first reading of Bill Number 6279.
We have a motion and a second. We'll get a staff report from Kathy Stepp.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is an opportunity for Branson to participate in the national opioid settlements with 4 different corporations. Approving this ordinance will allow the mayor to execute documents on behalf of Branson where we would be eligible to receive some potential funding to be used for opioid-related programs, either through training or prevention. The total dollars are not yet figured out, but any money that is received could be used to make a positive difference for the community. We've had legal review this, and it's just a matter of putting Branson on the list. In the event there is a settlement, we would get some of those dollars. So we ask for your approval.
Does anyone in the audience have any questions or comments on this? Any members of the board? Hearing none, let's vote.
The motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. We now are at the report section of the meeting. Alderman Fenton, anything?
Yeah, a couple things. One, congratulations, Keith. Congratulations on your retirement. I wanted to be sure and steal everybody else's thunder on that, and it's well deserved, my friend. I know Michael is going to be taking over and doing a good job, but you've earned it, buddy, and I hope you enjoy that bass boat we were just talking about. My second thing, this isn't really a report, maybe just a prayer request. I think a lot of people in the community have seen my good friend Michael Jung and what he and his family are going through. If you haven't, it's out on social media. I won't go into all the details, but he's got a little 3-year-old boy that's just fighting for his life up in St. Louis, and to see our community come together and just really support he and his family in the way they have has been incredible. So on his behalf, I'll just continue to ask everybody to keep them in your thoughts and prayers. They did post an update today. It looks like he's showing some good signs of improvement. So we're happy to see that. But I talked to Mike a little bit on Saturday, and they're keeping their spirits up and their faith. And it's just been incredible to see the community kind of rally around them. So I'd like to see that continue, and that's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you, Cody. Alderman Denham?
I'm going to ditto that anyways, Cody, for Keith and Michael Woods. Congratulations to both of you. A huge thank you to the Sight and Sound Theater for the invitation to attend their VIP evening of the grand opening of Queen Esther. The performances of that theater, they're all amazing. Queen Esther it's my favorite. They did such a fantastic job. The main and huge message of the historical event and the life of Queen Esther is, because lives were at stake. Tell the truth, no matter what the cost. Telling the truth keeps other people from being hurt, or maybe even in that show, lives that could have been lost. But it's just so important that we all tell the truth, no matter what the cost. Thanks.
Thank you, Ruth. Clay?
Yes. I wanted to say, went to a funeral today. A good friend of mine, kind of a mentor of mine, Gene Husted, passed away a couple of weeks ago, and they had his service today up at the Missouri Veterans Cemetery up south of Springfield. like a grandfather to me, like a great-grandfather to my kids, very close with he and Norma, his wife Norma. They just celebrated their 75th wedding anniversary a few months back, and Gene passed away, like I said, a couple of weeks ago. World War II veteran, served in the Navy, and just wanted to acknowledge Gene and say Gene's name publicly because he was a great man. And it was very cool. Took my 14-year-old up there, and he got to experience the gun salute. And when we left there, he was like, "Dad, that was so cool how those military guys took that flag and folded it and opened it up, and the whole, I think he saw a lot today that he had never witnessed, and I think it's good for young people to see and witness the respect that's given to the flag and to the fallen veteran. It was an amazing event, and we just wanted to say that we'll miss Gene Husted very much. And on a different subject, to Cherry, I take offense to your attack on me there. Chuck speaks for Chuck Rodriguez, and I speak for Clay Cooper. You've never heard me say what you said. I've never said it's 3 this, 3 that. Those are Chuck's words, and I'm a big boy, and I talk for myself. And Chuck can talk for himself, and I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Clay. Chuck? Marshall? Ralph? I know Marshall said no. Don't question, move on, move on.
Sure. Keith, congratulations on your retirement. The city's losing just a great man to retirement, but your grandkids are gaining a great man, and that time is so valuable. Time's our greatest asset, and to be able to spend it with people that we love and care about is always the right thing to do. And I'm sorry I can't be here Friday, because I would tell you congratulations again, but I'm going to see my number 6 grandkid that was born February 8th, and I'm going to spend time with my family that way too. So thank you so much for everything you do. Mike Woods, you got big shoes to fill, buddy. That's the Godfather. You got to bring it. To everyone else, to all the residents of the community, wow. Things are looking amazing at the jump here with spring break starting out. Again, I look at traffic a completely different way now, where before it was a hindrance. Now I'm just like, yes, baby, bring it. Because that just allows us as a team to do the things that we need to do in the community moving forward, and to provide succession planning for this community beyond when we're no longer on this dais. And that's my goal, is to make sure that my time spent here is planting seeds that will grow redwood trees in 100 years for this community. So with that said, you guys have a great, great St. Patrick's Day this weekend, and have an amazing weekend, because I know I will be. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Kathy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I first of all want to thank all the residents who watched the State of the City address, and for those of you who were able to join us up here, I really appreciate you being in attendance, Mayor. The message was very positive and very powerful, and you all do have so much to brag about. And we have such a brag book in Branson, and honestly, if we don't tell those stories and sing those songs from the rooftops, nobody else is going to do that. And it is such an honor for me to be at this chair in this moment in time, and I go back to Queen Esther, that so many of us are called for certain moments, and to stand in those moments, no matter what adversity comes before us, but to push forward for goodness and for light and for blessings and for love and for optimism. And man, this building is full of all of those things. I have a leadership team that I am so proud of to stand beside. We are just getting started, man. And you got to hear it in the mayor's speech earlier today. But we're heading straight up. And Branson, buckle up, because it's going to get even better yet. So it is such a pleasure to be here, and I thank all of you, each and every one of you. Yes, each and every one of you, I thank you for your service to this community and for your willingness to band together And I firmly believe that after this election, we will be doing that in much more harmony than what we've ever seen before. And thank you for the privilege.
Thank you, Kathy. I would like to thank Keith. Oh, wait a minute, we did.
Keith who?
Cody.
He's gone.
Cody took that.
He's gone.
Oh, I'm taking my card back. I have been asked by several in the community about our public comment section in our meetings. What I've been asked is these are intended to be more business meetings. We do want to hear that from the community. So a question I'm going to ask the aldermen to consider and share your thoughts with Kathy is if you'd like to have a study session to discuss possibly putting the public comment section at the end of the meeting instead of at the beginning of the meeting. I've been asked that several times, so I'm just passing on that request to the board. Other than that, I was truly honored today to share the state of the city. Boy, after putting it in writing of all the things we've done in 2022, the things that are on our plates today, the things that are coming up in 23 and beyond, it is remarkable the direction our city's headed in. So with that, the next item, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Not everybody at once? Oh, there you go. So we have a motion and a second. Let's vote.
Alderman Denham, what say you?
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.
Let's meet, let's eat.
What say you?